Alrighty, guys. Today we have a special guest, Jake Gay, coming from England. Not sure where though. Whereabouts in England are you from?
Right now, I'm relatively near Gloucester, so obviously that's quite near the likes of in England, near Bristol and that, and Birmingham, and it's actually quite near Wales, but it's not in Wales, if that
Okay,
makes sense.
gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I know like Manchester, London, Birmingham, and Liverpool. That's about it. And
Yeah, I'm
then,
quite far away from all those.
gotcha. So, are you a football fan? Do you have like a club that you support or no?
Yeah, I mean, I don't talk about that much. I mean, I am an Arsenal fan, so obviously at the moment, we're not doing too great, so I don't talk too much about
That's
that.
okay. That's okay.
How
You
about you?
support
Who
the
do you
team
support?
always. I don't really have one. I mean, I really liked Liverpool for a while. But it
Mhm.
was more of like I never had like really stuck to like put my DNA in that club. I just kind of like enjoyed watching them. Mo Salah was a fucking tank. I really liked how he played, and yeah, man, I've never really had like a real team that I've supported. But yeah, Jake, super excited to have you on today. This is gonna be a lot of fun, guys. Jake and I do very similar things. We work with people who have limiting beliefs and want to get better with themselves, want to feel confident and not only get abs and feel like skinny, not skinny but strong. You have abs, feel strong, but have the confidence that people in shape do. That's the biggest thing I think Jake and I really focus on. And I'm
Mm,
super excited to have someone who does very similar things as me on the
mm.
show today. So Jake, if you can go in and dive into your background, why you kind of started your journey and how it transitioned to you being a coach.
Oh, right. Where do we begin, right? So, for me, my whole fitness journey began, I believe it was just off, maybe like a couple months after I turned 16. I was very insecure with my body. Again, growing up playing a lot of football, or as you like to call it, soccer, right, in
Yeah,
America.
soccer.
And yeah, I was very weak, very skinny. Always got bullied off the ball. Very shy and insecure around girls and that, and I just didn't really have a lot of confidence in myself. And obviously, I was in that very sticky dilemma of what we now call skinny fat, with obviously having low muscle mass, but obviously at the same time having excess body fat. And so that's where I kind of realized I had to make a change. So obviously I started working at home just with basic like dumbbells and a bench. I then started getting to the gym and that, and that's where like when I started seeing results, like people were like, "Damn, it's like this skinny Jake guy who used to be like 110, 120 pounds. Now he's actually looking pretty jacked, right?" And that's where people actually started asking me for advice. And it got to the point where I'm not sure if you had it, but it's like 10 people ask you of like, how do I lose fat or whatever? And it's like, I'm thinking to myself, like, how could I get this done in a way where it's like I can answer one question to
Yep.
several people? And that's where I started obviously making YouTube videos and that, to actually answer like my friends' questions. Obviously, initially from that, was from like a general fitness gym kind of background. Eventually, even though I was seeing results, I was getting tired of like, whole bulking and cutting. The gym I went to was like hectic, man, like the busiest gym in the town. So it literally would take like 15 minutes just to wait to like, get a barbell or the squat rack, right? And that's where obviously I then came across calisthenics. Started working out at home, and was just amazed with the results. And obviously, as most people know me for my 5 month transformation video on YouTube. Um, and yeah, like I said, like that's just gave me a lot of passion and fulfillment. And it's always been, you know, it's always been where like there's always been a shift when you kind of get the same questions over and over again, if that makes sense. So obviously, what got me into YouTube was people asking the same questions of fitness. What then got me into coaching and start my own fitness business was like I had this transformation of like getting the best shape of my life at home with just my body weight and a pull-up bar. People then started asking me, I was like, where's your course, where's your program, like even people saying like, how do I buy something from you so I get results like this? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And obviously that's what inspired me to also make my coaching business, to the point where obviously over time, working with clients across the globe, I managed to actually go full time on it during my gap year after my A levels. at school, right? So this was something where I was like, because of like the momentum it was gaining, it was like, right, it's like I've got to be all in on this, otherwise I'm
For
gonna
sure.
really miss out on this opportunity. Do you know what I mean?
For sure.
So yeah, obviously, like initially I was obviously just known as JG Calisthenics because that's all I did, just calisthenics. You know, uploading valuable content on YouTube and that, and it got to the point where, you know, I realized there's more to fitness than just calisthenics, and I wanted people to know me more than just calisthenics. You know what I mean? So that's why I rebranded my business, literally just to my name. And now, obviously, I now actually, you know, coach people not just with calisthenics bodyweight training, but also those who want to literally just really transform their physique, focus on maximizing their muscle growth and fat loss, like in the gym, for example, lifting weights. Because now, personally, I'm in a position where I don't feel like you need to limit yourself just to one style of training, because there's more to life than just one style of training. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And obviously, that's what's obviously, you know, made me touch more, or not just like, you know, with the whole just like calisthenics, but now speaking about, you know, mindset, habits, which is ultimately, as we know, the thing that actually changes people's physique. Like, you know, I talk about, you know, if you want to change your body, you got to change your mindset, right? And obviously, that's obviously a lot of what I coach on and what you coach on, where, you know, a lot of the people I work with, a lot of people that I help, and the kind of content that I love making is the kind of content that really inspires people to just take action, right? And that is a lot of it related to like the whole mindset and habit related stuff. So yeah, that's kind of how I am where I am now. I'm not sure how long that was, if I went on too long on that, but I guess
Not at all.
that's my story.
Dude, that's awesome. And I was jotting notes down as you were going, and there's a lot of things that you touched on that I fucked with as hard, man. Like, for instance, I always grew up as the skinny kid. I was always shorter than everybody. I use my athleticism. Like I am athletic, and I always was athletics, but I used that to kind of like fight the identity of being the smaller kid, of being the shorter kid. I never got into fitness and health because I actually had a under the radar heart issue. I had a it's called supraventricular tachycardia. That it's a what it is, to explain it to everybody listening. I'm sure you've already heard it before, but it is where you have an extra pathway, electrical pathway, an extra one from the top to your bottom of your heart. So whenever you get into a really, really fast heart rate, it can get into a cycle in a loop to where you just have a really, really fast heartbeat. It wasn't like deadly or anything, but I had to take, I was on medicine for it for like 2 years, and eventually I got heart surgery for it. And then it was funny, man, like thinking back to like high school weights and like going lifting with the basketball, with my basketball team, all that fun stuff. Like, I hated it because I would always feel exhausted, and I didn't know why. I'm like, why do people like this? This fucking sucks. Like, I'm not that out of shape. I run, I do a lot of things, like, but I can't do this extra lifting. This sucks. So that kind of shied me away from lifting for the longest time. And then with golf and going to college to play golf, golfers, you don't really think of golfers as being in shape and like really huge. So I was like, oh, I'm fine. Like, I don't have to lift for that. That's how I transitioned to, was I was forced to lift in college. I already got the heart surgery. I was doing great. And after that heart surgery, I realized, man, like, this actually was fun. Like, I can actually grow muscle. Like, I'm enjoying this. I'm not just like panting on the sidelines. Like, I'm having a fucking time of my life right now. And so I started really just focusing. My journey started with functional lifting. So back squats, deadlifts, all of that fun stuff. So more of like a powerlifting scene, for power and exertion for golf related exercises. And that kind of switched to me saying, you know what, I like this, but I need to do more functional stuff, or I'm going to get really immobile. Because if you ever look at a bodybuilder, they can't swing a golf club. They have horrific thoracic mobility. They cannot load their hips very well, very tight hips. Like, it's not ideal for a golfer. So sophomore year of my college, I was like, all right, yeah, you know what? Like, I got to start switching, or I'm going to get one. I have short limbs. I lose mobility. I got to start switching to something that's a little more functional, where I can stay lean and still be strong. that's where I found calisthenics. Obviously, at mostly everybody all around our age starts with YouTube, starts with Thin X, starts with the things that like, oh, I want to look like him. I want to look like him. And it's sad, man. And I'm really pumped that you mentioned like the habits, the growth, the fixed versus growth mindset. That's where my head went when it comes to making a physique change. Because I always tell people that unless you see what you want every day and tell yourself that you can get there, you're never going to get there. What you see literally creates your reality. What you tell yourself creates your reality for you. And one thing that I think the listeners will find really valuable is when you have a belief, whether that's positive or negative. And I always like using cars because everybody can relate to cars. You guys call them automobiles. What do you guys call them?
We call them cars.
Cars. Okay. I've heard weird British terms for cars. No, the one thing you guys say is flats versus apartment.
Well, it depends on like it depends on the, I guess you'd say, like we have both. Like some
Okay.
people call
What
it a
is
flat,
the
some people call it
difference
apartment.
though?
I don't actually know. Like from what I've heard, like conversations, that usually it's like an apartment's usually more modern, and then a flat could be maybe older. But again, it's like some
Okay.
people say it the other way around. It's like it's kind of like two phrases you can use for the same thing.
Okay. Gotcha. So like chips and French fries, right?
Even though it should be called chips, you know. But
Yeah.
no debate, no debate.
Anyway, so I always like to use cars because everybody can relate to cars. And one thing that I like to say is if you have a belief, say you hate Jeeps, you like every time you see a Jeep, you're like, why would anybody drive that car? That's so stupid. Like that. I hate Jeeps. Your brain is going to show you every Jeep that passes by. You're going to see every Jeep that's parked in the parking lot. You're going to see it on the highway. You're going to see every Jeep possible. Same thing with the cars you love. If you say you love Teslas and you're like, God, I fucking want a Tesla. The Teslas are my favorite thing in the world. Like I would kill to have a Tesla. Your brain is going to notice every Tesla that you see, every one that you drive by. So knowing that it's not like your brain doesn't just focus on the things that you like, it also focuses on the things you don't like. That's important. You need to be aware of that, because if you aren't aware of that, you will think that, oh, I only say I only watch the videos of guys who are better than me. It's like, but are you comparing yourself to them? Are you saying, man, I want to look like exactly like that? Because that's not possible. We're genetically made to look like our best versions of ourselves when we're in the best shape of our lives, not made to look like Chris Heria or something like that. Like that's not how this is going to work. So that's so important, because if you tell yourself negative things without you realizing it, you're going to believe it. Your brain is going to find the things that confirm these past beliefs. If, for instance, if you hate Jeeps, you're going to see a Jeep that a wreck. Like, see, that's why I hate Jeeps. Like if I like people with Jeeps wreck, people with Jeeps have to fix things all the time. Like you're going to see these. It's and it's weird, man. It's a filtration process called the RAS, the reticular activation system. This filter is why we do what we do every day. This filter is why we focus on the things we focus on. This filter keeps us alive. Like, so when we're driving, there's trillions of neurons firing about everything that we're passing, but it focuses on the road, the lines, and the lights in cars around us. That's it. So people call it like a subconscious, like fight or flight response, which it kind of is. But think about it, man. If we actually looked at everything in our environment and saw all the colors, everything, we would be completely overwhelmed. Our brain would not be able to actually comprehend things. So I like to use this process and shift it to people's goals, shift it to what people actually want in life, which is to feel fucking amazingly confident naked. So sex with the lights on, baby. To walk into their work knowing that they are in control of their life and not having to like impress people, to go on vacation with friends and family and feel comfortable with the shirt off. Like those are the things that people actually deep down want. They don't want abs. They don't want big arms. They want the confidence and the things that come with that. They want to be that person, but not really. They want to feel like that person. So those are the frameworks that I use a lot of, man. And I have to really dive into people because we are stubborn. Humans are stubborn, man. And I'm sure that, and I'm going to transition this back to like the whole skinny fat idea. And because I know you have a lot of cool stories and like how you grew your YouTube is awesome. I fucking love that. And it's funny how you mentioned like when so many people start asking me the same questions, like how can I actually like be efficient with this? How can I actually help people and make valuable content and not just have to message people all day? Kudos to you, bro. That was a great. You saw an opportunity and you took it. And a lot of people would have shied away from that because once that many people are watching, it is scary. Like you start to question yourself. You start to wonder if you're worth it. You start to wonder if imposter. I guarantee you've had imposter syndrome in your life. I guarantee that has like really been a grip on your reality. So yeah, man, would love to dive into skinny fat, really what it is, and if you could just give us the Jake Gay definition of skinny fat so people can actually understand that better.
Yeah. So skinny fat is pretty much like it's an easy way to think of it. It's obviously like low muscle mass percentage relative to a higher body fat percentage. So it's actually, it's the double-edged sword, right? Most people, or I say most people, like skinny fat is actually very common, right? But
Very common.
when you look at like the two, I guess say like, let's just say we've got a line or something on two ends. We've got underweight and overweight. Well, if someone's underweight, it's pretty simple. You need to gain weight. If someone's overweight, it's pretty simple. You need to lose weight. But if someone's in the middle where they want to gain weight in the sense of building muscle, but also lose weight in the sense of losing fat, then it's kind of like, what the hell do I do? Do you know what I mean? Because it's like someone's underweight, it's like, right, you got to bulk. Someone's overweight, it's like, right, you got to cut. If you're in the middle, it's kind of like that's where people kind of get overwhelmed and stuck in that position because it's, as I said, if someone wants to bulk or cut, it's literally just one step, like bang, follow this, right? If you're skinny fat, you kind of got to take both into consideration because obviously, usually from what I've seen from experiences, like those who are skinny fat, if they just try and cut, then they just get skinny. If anything, they then get more skinny fat. They end up losing muscle and they don't actually lose the fat. At the same time, if someone then tries to bulk, it's like, well, they got more fat. So then it's like, they're like, yeah, they built some muscle, but then it's like, oh, now I've got all this fat, but now I've got too much fat. Now I need to cut it all off. And then because they try and cut it off so fast, they then lose the muscle. And then now they're skinny. That's still skinny fat. Do you know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, man. And what I kind of like the term that I use for this is it's just understanding your metabolism and understanding metabolic adaptation. But what I'm down to dive into some red flags of being skinny fat and what's actually causing that if you're down with that.
Yeah, definitely,
right.
definitely.
So I really like the idea of the whole, there's a line, you're either underweight or overweight, and then there's a little phase of being in the middle where you're not really mad about how much you weigh. You're just mad about what you look like. You want to change your body composition. And guys, if you're listening to this and you're like, yeah, dude, that's fucking me. Like, I can't stand looking at this little pooch on my stomach or these love handles. Like, I have flappy arms, but I really don't mind being 180. Well, guess what? You need to start fucking working out. And that's the best thing I can tell you. You need to create a habit around exercise and health. You need to start, and that can start with walking. That can start with doing push-ups a day. That can start with getting an at-home pull-up bar and starting to in some bands. But it does not mean you have to go to the gym 5 times a week. What it means is you need to start actually tearing muscle fibers to allocate for new muscle tissue to actually come in and grow more muscle. Because if you are skinny fat, you need to build muscle. And in order to do that, you need to eat. You guarantee you're not eating enough calories. Guarantee you're not eating enough calories.
Yes.
I'd say the one thing that's causing people to be skinny fat is the constant fear of gaining more fat. So they eat less food. And when they eat less food, their metabolism shifts to saying, man, you don't need this much food. Like if you eat any more,
they're in survival mode.
Because you're not actually eating because you're not actually exercising. So you're not burning as much calories. So your body slowly starts to transition to this. Say you used to eat 2,300 calories. Now you're eating 1,800 calories a day.
Yeah.
And your weight's not changing. And you're like, okay, well, if I eat any more, I'm going to gain weight, right? Maybe. It just depends on what your activity levels are. So there's so many different factors that I have to come into. Like, for instance, the hyper responder is an incredible person. Like, our coach's best friend. So guys, a hyper responder is someone who's never went through a fitness journey. They are their muscles are like babies' brains and iPads. They are ready to roll. They are learning as much as they fucking can, and they are wanting to do something. They are bored. They have been sitting there for the longest time, just waiting for something to happen. Hyper responders are those people who never really got consistent with exercise and health and priming their and optimizing their nutrition. So a hyper responder would be like someone who he was eating 1,500 calories a day, skinny fat, and you can bump it up to 2,300 calories a day and get them working out 3 to 4 times a week, and they can lose 10 pounds, but also build muscle. It's a really weird thing, guys, because when all body fat is stored energy. And when your body stops needing as much energy, it stores the energy that you're eating because you're not actually using it. So if that's the case, you need to increase the energy that you like exert, maybe work on strength training to tear muscle fibers, to build new ones, and making sure you have enough energy to replenish your muscles, to sleep better, to recover. So a hyper responder is someone who is a weird person you see in like 12 weeks who loses 10 pounds, but looks incredibly strong. And you're like, how did that happen? I want to do that. Sad news is if you've already done it before, it's not going to be as simple, right? The longer you go, your body is going to adapt. Your muscles are going to get used to you doing 10 push-ups. So guess what? You're going to have to start doing something else. You're going to have to create a new stimulus on your muscles. And that is where I think coaches come in so well with people, because that's where people feel stuck. They've did it before and then they try to do it again. But guess what? Your body already knows what you're trying to do, and it's not going to do it because it's not a stimulus. It's not new to them. So you have to put something new and exciting and for your body to actually do what you want it to do. And yeah, like that is my like calories is the number one thing you have to look at with skinny fat people, because 99% of the time they're not eating enough compared to what they're burning a day. So the energy balance is just not ideal.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that's like the primary thing I look at as well with clients, because the thing is as well, I think you said it as well, like a lot of clients I work with who start at skinny fat, all of them have got a base level experience where it's like, I did this and it was working, now it's not working, I don't know what to do. And as we know, it's like what got us to where we are now will not get us to where we now want to be. Do you know what I mean? You can't do the same thing that, got you to your current physique compared to the kind of physique you want to get at. Do you see what I mean? So yeah, working out it is the biggest thing, because obviously the problem with skinny fat is not fat. The reason why the excess fat looks more noticeable on people who are skinny fat is because they don't have enough muscle mass. Do you see what I mean? And that's why the increase in muscle mass actually makes them look leaner, even if they don't lose any fat. It's like if you, like on my website, like on my testimonial page, like I've had some clients, like people be like, how much fat did they lose? And I'd be like, I don't think they lost any fat, but they look so much more defined because they've built muscle. They've now got abs because their abs are actually freaking strong. Do you know what I mean? They went from doing like a 30-second plank to now doing an L sit hanging from a bar. Do you know what I mean? That kind of thing. I think as well, another thing that's important is obviously protein. I think a lot of people who are skinny fat usually undereat on protein. Usually, from what I've seen, a lot of people who are skinny fat, exercise related, it's usually like they're doing too much cardio and not enough strength training. And then nutrition wise, there could be a combination of things. But what I found with a lot of clients is, one, like their diet just needs a lot of improvement. It just needs a lot of improvement. You know what I mean? I think a lot of it is, we know we still need to have those unhealthy foods in our diet for sustainability, but it's like, we say about the 80-20 rule of like, 80% clean, 20% eating what you want. But obviously a lot of people are skinny fat, usually they're doing 80% what they want, and then 20% of the foods they really should be eating. Do you know what I mean? So you definitely got to like focus on flipping that round. And also, as I said, protein, like we know protein's needed for muscle growth and repair. And obviously I feel especially those who are stuck with skinny fat, they're massively undereating on protein. Like, someone who's like a pretty built, like 180 pounds, it's like they're consuming less than 100 grams of protein a day and wondering why they're not building any muscle. It's like, well, it's like you're putting in the work, but you're not giving any nutrients for your body to respond.
Yeah, man, protein is a huge one. I so many people coming to me under eating protein, and like you said, man, it's not just for muscle; it's also for appetite control. And that's the other step that another thing that like a variable that I go into is how much caffeine are you drinking, bro? Because I know if you're eating 1,500 calories a day, you're fucking tired. you are not getting things done. Like you are reliant on something. And if you're drinking over 400 milligrams caffeine every day for a year or two, good fucking Lord, your appetite, you're not going to be hungry, bro. Like that is going to tank your hunger. So it's not only like, man, I'm just like, it's not that I'm not like, I'm trying to eat like 1,500 calories. It's just, I'm not hungry. It's like, well, how much energy drinks are you drinking today? I'm like, I don't know, like 2. I'm like, how much nicotine do you do? And they're like, oh, like, I mean, yeah, I like dip every now and then. I'm like, that stuff's important. If you want to actually grow, you need to put more calories in your body. And in order to do that, you need to fucking watch your caffeine intake. That is huge for people. And whenever I say that and you're listening to this, like, yeah, I know I'm going to stop drinking caffeine. Don't stop drinking caffeine. Caffeine's the best drug on the world. It is. But nothing is good or bad. Nothing in this world is good or bad. It's how much it's your behaviors and habits behind what you do every day. And behind that one thing. Exercise. Exercise is an amazing tool for staying healthier, being really, really sharp mentally, and being good with yourself. But guess what? If you do it too much and you overconsume exercise, it's gonna consume you. You're going to become it. You're gonna burn out. You're gonna probably develop maybe an eating disorder. You're going to maybe try to chase a figure that you're not, that genetically you will never be unless you pay about 10 grand for it. There's so many things in life that we look at as bad and good, when in reality, man, there's no such thing. No such thing as bad or good. But what there is our habits and behaviors behind it. It's just like smoking. I mean, yeah, someone can smoke or drink. Someone could drink a glass of wine every day for the rest of their life. It's gonna kill them. I mean, maybe a little bit, maybe like when they're 80. But is that going to put them in the hospital? No, it's not, because our body is good at getting shit out. Our body is good at keeping a positive environment in there. Like, so we have a lymphatic system for a reason. And another thing that I see, man, is a big issue. So appetite control is big, because if no one's going to change unless they eat enough calories. And if they can't eat enough calories, that's something that needs to be looked at. But what protein can do for you guys, when you eat more protein, you're going to feel full. So on the weekends, when you're getting drunk with friends and you ate 20 grams of protein for that day, you're going to be starving, because what alcohol does, it drops your inhibitions, and it allows you to be like one with yourself. Your ego is kind of gone, and you're like, oh, hey, I haven't ate anything for the last 3 days. I'm going to smack this like two whole pizzas. And when you eat a high fat, high carb diet, guys, it's not fulfilling. It's not. You're going to feel like shit the next day, and it's not actually something that's going to be sustainable. So when you can increase protein intake, it's going to, 1, help with muscle recovery, and it's going to, 2, keep you fuller throughout the day. So whenever you do get to your flatter apartment, and you're like, man, I've only ate like 2 things today. I'm gonna order some takeout pizza. I'm gonna go get some Chinese food. Like, it's that you're so much less likely to do that when you're eating protein regularly throughout the day, because you're actually like fulfilling your stomach. You're actually fulfilling your gut, and it's going to do amazing things for you. People sleep on it, man. People sleep on it hard.
Yeah, I think as well, like, I think protein is obviously out of the 3 macronutrients. It's usually one that's very easy to consume, because obviously a lot of the protein sources we have in the form of like meat and protein powder obviously doesn't have any fiber in it. And obviously this is one thing I see a lot with people with skinny fat as well, when it's like, I feel like a lot of people with skinny fat is like they can have like a all or nothing mentality, where they go from one extreme to the other. So it's like they can go from eating really bad to really clean, and like, because they're eating like so many fruits and vegetables and like whole grains, all of that, like their fibers through the roof. And like that's another thing as well, where like if we're consuming so much fiber and like, we're so bloated, that's where like a lot of people can like see themselves as skinny fat, when in reality they're not. It's actually like, it's literally just their gut that just needs addressing. And that's where obviously, especially like having high carb, like high fiber, all that, without enough protein, where it's like their body just isn't able to digest all those nutrients. You know what I mean? And that's one thing as well. Like the most ironic thing is sometimes I've even had a couple of clients where the way I've helped them address skinny fat is literally addressing the way they eat, where it's like their problem was not skinny fat, they were just bloated because of the way they were eating and the foods they were eating. So it was like, right, this eat in a way that's easy to digest, right? Let's cut the fiber down so it's a healthy amount rather than, it's a bit like with fiber, we know fiber is important for digestion, but like take this glass of water. It's like if we have too much fiber, it's like freaking trying to pour water in a glass that's already full. It just does more harm than good. You see what I mean? So I think
Nothing is good or
definitely,
bad.
I think definitely addressing nutrition habits, and also, stress is a big thing that can, make us feel more bloated and tired,
For sure.
impact our posture. And those are the things that can make us look skinny fat, right? And the reason why like I go like that is because like some people who think they're skinny fat aren't actually skinny fat. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've had some clients where, as well as the nutritional thing, it's like, right, let's correct your posture. Let's fix that anterior pelvic tilt and, the rounded back. And it's like, bang, it's like their midsection looks more flat. It's not so much like they've lost that much fat in like 2 weeks or whatever. It's like, right, it's like, because obviously the way we've addressed their posture, they're not like so slumped forward. They're actually more upright and can actually breathe properly. Like those small
Absolutely.
things, you know what I mean? But I would say with skinny fat, the biggest thing, as we said, is building muscle. I find a lot of clients, like the sweet spot is usually 4 times a week, like upper lower twice a week each. Like 3 times a week works great at the beginning, but obviously upper lower compared to full body, you get more total volume throughout the week, and like
sure.
you get focused more on each body part. But also the good thing with like 4 times a week is like it allows them to recover each session within their lifestyle. Well, obviously, like I don't have any clients where fitness is just their job. Like they've got a 9 to 5. They've got stressful lifestyles to the extent where like they're a high performer where, they've got to perform, right? They haven't got a type of job where they can just sit in the office and like they get away with doing jack shit. It's like they've actually got to perform and deliver, right?
Yep.
And like feed a family and all of that. Do you know what I mean? So it's like I think 4 times a week, like, and having those 3 rest days with some cardio and that, it's like they're able to not only transform their body, but they also have the time to, use that energy and the confidence to improve other aspects of life and actually have a life, right? Because as you know, I mean, I don't know if you've had it. I've had it myself where, sometimes we can get so addicted to fitness and like the results and the process where it becomes a whole life where we then end up not having a life, where we're this person in such amazing shape.
Yep.
Where like, I had it myself where I was this guy in absolutely amazing shape, but I still had the exact same insecurities because I literally use like fitness as a mask of my insecurities. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, I think it was probably like my first year of lifting where like I was in pretty good shape for like 17 or 18-year-old. But yeah, I was like, as I told you at the start, like my confidence in insecurity and lack of confidence with girls, is like that never really addressed because I literally use fitness as a way to like mask that insecurity of like, oh, because I got a good looking body, you should pay attention to me. Whereas as I found like girls aren't interested just in look. There's a lot more to it than that. Do you know what I mean? Which is why I think you've got to approach fitness more as a lifestyle. Do you know what I mean? A way that it actually like enhances your life and like the other goals and the other priorities you've got in life, rather than making it your life. Because it's like if that's all you focus on in the short term, it's like the reason why you start fitness to address certain problems in either your health or your life, like you're still going to have those same problems if like you use it as a mask of like what you really need to address. Do you know what I mean?
Dude, absolutely. Like you nailed it on the fucking head. I was the same way. I had abs and I thought this is it. I did it. Like,
I made it.
I could do muscle ups. I fucking made it. And in reality, you guys, like that's not what humans here are put on earth for. We're put on earth to relate to other people, to build communities, and to feel like we're not alone. The biggest scare and the biggest issue I see with people who work out, and there's nothing against people who do it by themselves. I have nothing against that. But eventually it gets to a point where you get to a point, like you said, you're like, now what? I've already did what I wanted to do. What do I do now? Continue to do it? Yep. But you have to adapt. You have to pivot. You have to say, how can I create leverage on myself right now? If I really want to change this mentality of like, I made it, I got to put myself around people who are doing way more than me or have created the lifestyle that I want. Because even though you got to the point that you want, doesn't mean you've created the lifestyle. It doesn't mean you have the friends who are there to support you. And that was my biggest thing, man. I did it for so long alone that I was at a great spot where with myself, but I was like, why don't I have more friends that are doing this? Why haven't I not like
Yeah.
found other people who are doing what I'm doing? And it's weird, man. When you only care about yourself, no one gives a fuck. No one gives a fuck about what anybody can do. We
Mm.
are all wondering, how can that benefit me? Every social media post, every content that you consume, deep down you're thinking, why am I watching this? Because it can, one, make me laugh, two, I might learn something, or three, I might relate to it. That's the
Mm.
only reason you're not saying, wow, look at that guy, he's so strong. That is, I need to like tell him he's so strong, because I don't
Yeah,
think he
yeah.
knows he's so strong. No one thinks that way, man. And whenever you get out of that mentality of saying, it's not about what I can do, it's about what I can, it's about how I can take what I've done and help other people. And that's what
Mm.
we've done. That's what we're doing. It's not about us. Like, what we do is not about us, which, being a coach, it's very easy to get into that, not caring about yourself anymore, because you're caring about so many other people, and you're in control of their health, and you're like, shit,
Mm.
that's a lot of responsibility. But whenever it comes down to the whole mask thing, man, it's about being honest with yourself. There's nothing in life that's all about you. Like, there's nothing. It's about contribution. It's about growth, and the whole idea of growth or fixed mindset. But one last thing that I wanted to dive into, and I think it's a really important factor that a lot of people like forget about, because yes, working out is awesome. Like, if you're especially if you're skinny fat, you need to build muscle. But if you also want to improve your quality of life, you need to move your fucking body more. You need to increase your NEAT. You have to
Mm.
increase your NEAT. And your NEAT, guys, is your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. This is your blinking. This is your talking. This is your moving your hands. This is you walking. So steps is not a part of exercise, guys, unless you tell yourself, I'm going on a walk for exercise. Say you're going on a walk. This is a part of life. We are bipedal. Like, humans were meant to walk places. We were. It's not exercise. It's how we got around for the longest fucking time. So when you switch that idea of, man, maybe I just focus on a step goal at first. Like, if workouts are scary, you're not ready to hire a coach, and you are someone who's like, man, like, I can do some push-ups at home, I can do some sit-ups, and maybe I can get 10,000 steps a day. I can go on
Mm.
two walks, or I can invest in a treadmill and get 20-minute walks in, make sure I get 10,000 steps, and do a certain amount of push-ups or sit-ups. That's an amazing start, because one, you're going to start looking at exercise as just a part of your life. It's just something you do every day.
Mm.
And that's why habits are so goddamn crucial, man. Because if you're someone who just wants to feel better about themselves, you have to do things that you have to do different things that you're not doing now. You have to be
Yeah,
willing.
yeah, yeah.
You have to be
Mm.
willing to look at it from a different lens and say, this hasn't worked. This hasn't worked. So why do I fucking keep doing it? It's literally the definition of insanity. Like, I know
Yeah.
Albert Einstein's quoted
Yeah,
for that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, is the definition of insanity. So in order to change your life, you need to, one, create leverage on your life. The best way to explain leverage is, hey, bro, like, give me $100. And you're like, fuck off. Like, I'm not giving you $100. And then I put a gun to your head and say, hey, bro, give me $100. What the guy just did was he created leverage by making you realize what would happen if you didn't give him $100. He's going to shoot you in the fucking head.
Mm.
So you're dead. Like, so you're like,
Mm.
you're going to come up with $100. You're going to give him $100. Think about that in a less morbid way for your fitness and health. Think
Mm.
about this.
I think one way I can't.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I was just going to finish. So
Yeah,
I was going to say, well, one way you have to, if you're really struggling and you're like, I need to change, but I just don't know how. One, hire a coach. Two, create leverage by making yourself realize what would happen in 3 to 5 years if you didn't fucking change. If you
Mm.
continue to let insecurities run your life, if you continue to not show up for yourself, if you continue to put all your energy in other people and never say no to people, if you continue to only just forget who you are, stop always wearing baggy shirts, not even wearing wearing shirts when you swim, what would that do to you? Well, like, would you be the person that you want to be? And that right there, my friends, is the way you change, is sit in that lifestyle and see what that feels like. and tell yourself that's not worth it. This
Mm,
little doing push-ups every day is much worth feeling like that in 3 years. And that right there is creating leverage. So yeah,
mm.
go ahead.
Yeah, I was honestly just about to say a similar thing where obviously when I obviously take on new clients, it's like, it's comparing, what happens if they don't do anything a year from now versus what would happen if they did take action
Mhm.
a year from now. Do you see what I mean? And obviously like comparing the difference of like, either being stuck in the same place or even seeing their health and everything decline versus seeing their body and their lifestyle transform. It's
Yep.
like you kind of gotta have you gotta have the two, obviously understanding the consequence of not taking action to then give you some urgency to take action, but also having that vision of what life will look like if you do take action, so you actually have like an incentive to keep going. Do you know what I mean? And I think one thing that is important to understand as well, as we said, is like using fitness as a lifestyle, because it's like I think especially with like the superficial goals of like building a certain amount of muscle, losing a certain amount of fat, doing a muscle up, a handstand, a one-arm chin, all of that is like, I think all of those goals are important, but don't be too attached with them at the same time. Do you know what
Yep.
I mean? Because
Yep.
it's like, I think it's like a never-ending cycle. It's like if your goal is always to build muscle, you'll never have enough muscle. Do you know what I mean?
Nope.
And I think that's
Nope.
why a lot of people like they give up very soon, because it's like they spend so long like losing 20 pounds, and then they realize when they get to 20 pounds it's like they're like, oh well, the 20 pounds hasn't made me happy, so I'm gonna like go and put it back on again. It's like it's not like the thing that makes you happy, it's who you become that is like what you're really striving for. Again, not just like how you want to look, but how you want to feel yourself, or as you said, of like the confidence to not just improve your self-esteem, but then to use that to improve other aspects of life. And having that, I guess you say, the pride, like the sense of accomplishment, and the feeling of like, I'm not sure if you had it, if you remember the first time, but it's like being able to rip your shirt off on the beach and be freaking confident, not care
Oh yeah.
what anyone
Mhm.
thinks, because you're freaking amazing, right? Like that's the kind of stuff that really makes us happy, rather than like, hey, look at me, guys. Like I don't know, I can do 10 more muscle ups than you. Like people are like, go away, man. Like you're a dick.
See, and that was a big shift with me, dude, is thinking, oh, everyone's gonna be like, damn, dude, you're in good shape. Bro, no one gives a fuck. No one gives a
Mm.
fuck if you
You,
have
you
abs.
gotta
No
do it for
one, no one,
yourself.
you have to do it for yourself. If you're chasing other people's acceptance, guess what? There's always going to be someone who's stronger than you. There's always going to be someone who's better looking than you. There's always going to be
Mm.
someone who can do more than you. There's always going to be someone who's more successful than you. What are you chasing? You have to chase self-fulfillment. You have to. You have to find why you do the things you do every day and create a lifestyle on why you do on that. For instance, like if I'm ever lucky enough to be a dad, I'm gonna be a fucking superhero dad. I am. I'm gonna be that dad who's fucking the best in shape person. I'm gonna create the best. My kid is going to have the best habits possible. Mirroring. They're gonna be doing things that no other kids do because I don't want to be someone who just settles. I'm always going to be
Mm.
finding ways to improve my mind, my body, and it's going to be a lifestyle for me. But I know now I'm at age 24. If I want that, I got to work at it. It's not going to come overnight. And that's I live my life. I do the things I do because I want to contribute to society. I want to be at a point where I'm so fucking good with myself financially, emotionally, physically that I can help other people. And that might look at starting charities. That might look at finding ways to give back to people who have absolutely nothing. That might be starting a foundation that teaches kids at a younger age what we're doing, what they need to know. So they're not on their phones comparing themselves to people who have better genetics than them and have better parents who have better habits. I'm gonna end it on this one, man. I'm a big believer that obesity is not genetic. The habits of obese people are genetic.
Mm.
We pick up on what we see as a kid. We are sponges. And if you're someone who uses those fake beliefs of saying, "Oh, well, my parents were fat, so I'm gonna be fat," like that's just gonna happen, dude. That's so fucked. That you are predicting your reality and your future by believing that stuff. So every news article you see about obesity is a genetic trait. You're gonna feed that you feed that fake fucking belief over and over again until you actually just say, you know what, I'm just gonna be fat. Like this is just who I am. I'm just gonna have to buy bigger clothes. Can't change it. guess what, man? That's awesome, but I'm not going to hang out with you. And I'm sorry, but I'm not. Like, I don't want to hang out with people who believe that this is the only way. This is the only thing that matters. This is my life. I want to hang out with people who have changed from absolutely fucking nothing, who have created successful businesses from absolutely nothing. I want to hang out with people who would never stop growing. And I think you are very, very similar. And there's a reason the universe brought me and you on this podcast together, because we are two guys who get it when it comes to at an early age, to be completely honest. I didn't get it at your age at all. It took a while. Last 3 years have been a lot of work for me, but it's got me to where I am now. And I'm not happy with it where I am now, because I know that I'm going to be getting better. I know that, like, I'm never going to be content where I'm at. I have to always, one, create leverage, invest in opportunities that will make me work even harder, and put myself around people who will push me, like you, like the coaches in my mentorship. There's guys, I will end it on this, and let me know what you think. There's people out there that have done what you're trying to do. They've done it, and they went through the shithole of the reality of it, but they got out of it and they figured it out. Millions of people have done this. So why do you think you need to do it yourself? Why do you think you need to figure it out yourself? And question the amount of time that you're spending on trying to figure it out yourself, and maybe sit back and be like, you know what? I could probably get some help from this. Is that pride worth it of you figuring it out yourself? Or could you maybe go out to eat with your family a little bit more instead of researching stuff? Could you maybe take 2 rest days and go on a vacation or for the weekend or to the beach, and instead of working out 7 days a week? Guys, there's a lot of things in life that you're missing out on if you try to do everything alone. Human connection is the greatest feeling in the world. That's the reason why we get married. There's the reason why we have best friends. There's the reason why we have family members that we can't help but love, because we are connected to them in a spiritually, emotionally, and physical way. We are connected to them. So don't be afraid to ask for help. It's the first step in creating an amazing life, is realizing you don't have to do it all on your own.
Yeah, definitely. There's actually a great book on that. I'm not sure if you read it. I'm actually looking at my bookshelf right here. Ego is the Enemy by Ryan Holiday.
Yep. I've heard of it.
It's a real
definitely
good book, man. Oh my God. It's like, the one of the biggest things in it is always being a student, because like the moment we stop, it's like the way Ryan described it, is like, you know, the moment we stop learning is the moment we start dying, because then we think that we know it all. And that's where, like, it was a big reality check for me as well, because it's like there's so many things that hold us back, and we realize, like, what is it that's holding us back? It's not just us, but it's our ego, right? And it's, you know, it's understandable to like feel that way initially when we don't have the knowledge and understanding of our ego. But when you kind of understand it, it's like that's when you realize how to separate yourself from your ego. And that's where I think, like, for me, like, you know, growing up in school, I was never like a smart guy. Like, I always got just B's and C's, right? I never really got A's. And that's where, like, even start my business venture and that, I've always been held accountable, either being in a mentorship program or working with coaches and mentors. And that's the thing, like, it's just leveraging their knowledge. Like, the thing is, for me, it's like, I'm not even smart. It's like, I just like, you know, I have people holding me higher at a higher level to then, you know, help others at a high level as well. Do you know what I mean? Because I know what I'm doing. I'm not like doing the guesswork in my fitness, my health, my business and all that, because I'm being guided along that way. And it pays massive dividends, like, in the long run with that. But yeah, I think, like, if anyone watching this podcast wants like any book recommendation, like, Ego's the Enemy, it is a real great read. It's a reality check. Like, you got to read it with an open mind, otherwise you'll take it really offensively.
Yeah, man, that's definitely on my list. Since we're throwing book ideas out there, if you're someone who's wanting to start something, whether that's a business, whether that's a fitness journey, whether that's anything like a art, like you want to make music, literally anything that's like out of the norm, read The Art of War, or sorry, The War.
Oh yeah, I've got that one.
Stephen Pressfield's book, War of Art.
Yeah, the War of Art. Yeah.
War of Art, not The Art of War. Fuck that book. I'm never gonna read that book. But The War of Art is about resistance. It's about the ego. It's about understanding it. And man, when it comes to this stuff, if you're listening to this, like, dude, I don't know, ego. What the fuck's that mean? A buddy of mine said that ego is another way he looks at it, is edging God out, edging edging the higher power out and saying, I can do it all on my own. There's no one else. There's no higher entity. This is just me. I can do this. This is just you. That's all that matters. So, and I like that. Whether you're religious or not, I think that's a really cool way to look at it. Is if you edge God out, or if you edge that higher power out, it's just you. And how fucking lonely is that? That is horrific. Yeah, man. Thank you again for coming on the show, man. This has been a lot of fun. I always like to end things with like a really kind of like a fun question, or just something that like makes you think a little bit. But if you could pick one place to travel and work out at, where would it be?
Oh, that's actually an easy question. I want you to see in the background here. You see canvas of LA, Santa Monica Pier.
Venice Beach.
Mate.
Got
it. Literally, because like when I was
I'll meet you there one day.
When I first started calisthenics and that, like obviously a lot of the videos on YouTube are people at Santa Monica Pier, and Venice Beach and all of that. And I even like some of my first clients lived right by there. So it's so like cool. When they'd like they would like send me workout clips for me to give them feedback on, like at Venice Beach. I'm just like, I want to be there, man. If anything, if it wasn't for COVID, I probably would have visited there last year. I actually had plans of like traveling and that, and COVID was just like, nope.
Well, let me know when you're ever in the States, man, and we can always hook up. And I've never been to LA. I've been to San Diego, San Francisco. I've been to a lot of places, but never LA. So Venice Beach is definitely on my bucket list of things or places to visit. And Miami as well. Miami is awesome. I would definitely check that out if you're ever in Miami, to go to Miami Muscle Beach. It's very similar vibes, especially on the weekends. But dude, me and you have a similar bucket list there. But if you're ever in the States and you're going there, fucking let me know, because I'm always looking for a reason to fly to California or to experience new things in life. So always down.
Awesome, man. Sweet. I think as well, like, because I played a lot of GTA when I was younger. Obviously, GTA 5 is based in LA. So literally it's like, oh man, it brings back good vibes.
It's like good vibes. It's like you could easily get around because you played so much GTA, right?
I like it's like like a lot of people go on like tours around LA. It's like, I won't need it, mate. It's like,
no, I got it. Been there, done that. Been doing a lot of illegal things there for a long time. Hey, Jake, appreciate your time and energy on this podcast, man. This is going to be a lot of fun, and I can't wait for it to come out.
Awesome, man. Sweet. It's been a pleasure talking to you.